Morning everyone. So has anyone been watching the programme? It's called Stranded on Honeymoon Island. I don't usually watch stuff like this because I don't watch Married at First Sight anymore. I watched the first series and then it just became like chaos. I don't watch Love Island. I think I watched that probably, I don't know, maybe 5-6 years ago when it first started. Again, a lot of these programmes, I feel, are not to do with like relationships and love. They're just to do with entertainment purposes, and they're so scripted and so obviously set up in a particular way that I normally avoid. But I thought, I'm a bit bored the other day, switched over, and I was pleasantly surprised, to be honest. I don't watch any, I don't really like, I'm not a big fan of Davina McCall either. I think she's over the top and stuff, but even she toned down. She's not even in it much, she just pops up. The concept of the show is that the couples, they go to that island. I missed the first episode, so I don't know how they chose each other, but I think they did like a speed dating, and then they put each person in order of preference. Because the only reason I know that is because when they were talking about, when they came together and they were talking about who chose who, they were saying, you were my number 2 or you were my first choice. So they get paired together. And then they are on this island where there's no distractions. I love that idea of it, that, you've got nothing to distract you. And they're in their separate places, so they don't come together all of the time. They've got their own little spaces where they can just get to know each other. So what's been interesting so far is just the intensity and the stress that some of them are under and how that is coming out in arguments. But also the second thing I've noticed is people are feeling really insecure if their partner is saying, you were my second choice, or this person was my first choice. To me, it's like you can't do anything about that. And it's the same as when people are on there saying, I'm not attracted to you, or this sort of thing. And there's going to be an option tonight, I think, because I'm watching it later, where they can make like an SOS call or send a flare out if they're not interested, if they want to leave the island. They've got a choice. So there's a few people I think are going to do that. So some of the things I've noticed, some of the themes are just how quickly people are to sort of throw in the towel a lot of times, like especially with men in particular. If a man's not attracted like physically to someone, I think it's more difficult for a man to overcome that barrier and then to say, well, this person has got this personality or she does all these things for me. If they're not physically attracted to you, that's always just going to be there. It's like to a man, sometimes you have to make up for that in all other areas, but you still can't, because at the end of it, they're still going to say, I don't physically find you attractive. With a woman, it's going to be other things. It could almost be like the other way around, where they'll probably go for someone who they're not, that physical attraction isn't that important, but say this person does a few things that get on their nerves. This one lady on the island, she's got a long list. She's your typical, I don't know if it's Gen Z. I can't get used to like what's what, millennial, Gen Z. I think Gen Z, because she's in that 20-something age range, where she just knows that she's being silly, but she just can't help it anyway. She's got this long list of stupid things which she's calling red flags or deal breakers. And it's things like people with skinny legs she put on there, people who don't like eating certain food. As she was reading the list, the guy was just like looking, thinking, what? How's that like a deal breaker? But she knew, she was just on there, I think, just to be silly. But anyway, she doesn't fancy this guy that she's with. And he's now saying he doesn't feel good enough. And she's then putting it back to her and saying, I didn't want to make you feel like you're not good enough. But then she's outright told him, I don't fancy you, you're not the person I go for. And she's done this long list of things she doesn't like in someone. So they're both just a disaster. I don't think they're going to go anywhere. And then there's another couple who he said to the woman that he doesn't find her physically attractive. And that has just taken her down like a path. And she's now come back with being aggressive, being sarcastic, being rude. It's a really interesting experiment. I prefer this than like all of the Married at First Sight, where they got these 3 experts who are clearly biased and are clearly just provoking and prodding people. Here, they just leave them to it. They leave them to work it out. They say to them, okay, you don't fancy this person. What are you going to do now? Are you going to leave the island? Are you going to work at it? Are you going to explore it, discuss it? I like the fact they're having like heart-to-heart conversations, that it's mature age people as well. You've got a mix. You've got some young ones, but you've got some mature age. You've got some interracial couples. You've got some black couples, white couples. You've got lesbian couple, it's a good mix of people. You can tell they've not just gone on Instagram and just selected people from the profiles. It's a range of people. So it will be interesting to see how it goes. But for me, I would probably do an experiment more like that myself. Like, I wouldn't go on Married at First Sight, because you can tell from the start that it's just scripted in a particular way.